stories in the Southeastern Conference. You and I have kind of argued back and forth about college athletics is so out of control. But then you don't have a problem with the NIL, and you don't have a problem with the bleep and transfer portal.
Not at all.
Southeastern Conference held their football meetings this past week, and Greg Sankey, who's very influential commissioner of the conference, met with the coaches. The coaches, John, are up in arms. We know that this new lawsuit in which every school now is going to have $22 million a year that will be funded to all their athletes and all their athletic programs. The SEC is discussing, haven't proposed it yet, and now it's a firefight with the coaches. The SEC is discussing, with all the money they're making and all the money, they hand out $66 million per school in media rights fees to everybody in the SEC.
Wow.
They're proposing we need to get this under control. They are proposing an 85-man roster, not an unlimited scholarship roster. It's got to go back to 85. And they just proposed no walk-ons. You got your 85 at Bama and at Auburn and Ole Miss and Mississippi State. No walk-ons. Coaches lost their mind when Sankey brought this up to them. And they said it's absolutely not. Walk-on college football programs are part of the big picture of college football. Walk-ons gives that right tackle a chance to go and to be a college player under the tutelage of your offensive line coach.
Yeah.
Walk-ons give that backup quarterback a chance maybe to play and maybe become a scholarship athlete because he wasn't coming in the front door. And the SEC says there's a limit to how much we're going to pay every one of these athletes, football to the Olympic sports to baseball, whatever. We need to put a lid on football, even though the volumes of money that's coming in the front door is amazing. Coaches are just beyond themselves right now. And they say, oh, so we have our 85 scholarships at Auburn. We can't touch anybody else. Those guys are going to go to other schools. They're going to wind up at Tennessee or Kentucky or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or they're going to wind up at a lower Division I program like the Mountain West or the Mid-American, or some guys might be in 1AA football. It's opportunities other places. They want the opportunity for them to corral not only just their 85 scholarships, but Texas has got 35 walk-ons on their program. Mm-hmm. And Steve Sarkisian said, I'm developing 35 non-scholarship players to become scholarship players. Why should I have to give those guys up so they can go to Texas Southern or somewhere else? So I don't know. It's very complicated. This thing has not sorted itself out, but man, there were fireworks at the SEC meetings, and these coaches are really peeved that the SEC, with the volume of revenue they're bringing in and what they're distributing, $66 million per school, is now trying to squeeze the football program and limit expenditures. And football fan John Riley says,
well, it is weird how the money is exploding and yet they're whittling down the roster. I agree. They need to have walk-ons. I mean, we've seen a lot of cases of walk-ons not only performing really well, but getting scholarships. And really, if they're a walk-on, they don't get a scholarship. So, I mean, how much is this really costing the team, the conference? You know, because the NIL is not everyone gets the same amount. All right. I mean, they all have individual NIL deals.
Yeah, but that's going to change with the new lawsuit that was just settled. And each school is going to have $22 million to distribute. Now, there will be the NIL factor there, but the NCAA wants to take control of the NIL and put a roof on that everybody's operating with the same set of monies going forward. Now, this is you and I talking in almost June of 2024 that this will get solved, but a year from today, they still might not have the specifics, the logistics of how they're going to execute NIL money. And NCAA just, at this point, is trying to get through Congress to give them the antitrust exemption so they can put everything under their own umbrella and one set of rules for Mississippi State and Oregon State and all that.
Well, there are things they can still do. Like on a road game, they don't need to bring the walk-ons with them because
they usually don't.
Yeah, they usually don't. But even if you have 85 on your roster, all 85 of them don't play, right? I mean,
no, they're active. They could play.
They could. But like an NFL has like a 56-man roster?
58. 58? Plus the developmental squad.
Yeah, so colleges have like 20 more players. I mean, I can't imagine they're all going to get into the game. I mean, so you could whittle that thing down to like 80 or 75 in terms of the people that play and leave the other guys at home, and they can still work out and be part of the team, and you can save a couple of bucks.
There's an expense factor that'll have 35 walk-ons at Texas. There is a huge expense factor.
Oh yeah.
But those kids are insurance policies when guys get hurt. Those kids are late developers under coaching that became established players. Stetson Bennett, who led Georgia to back-to-backs. He was a walk-on. He was a JUCO transfer walk-on who became an NFL draft pick because they coached him up. That's a prime example of SEC football. Okay, Fans Forum is open. You're a college football fan. If you wish to comment on Coach Prime, you got something to say about this whole SEC controversy, fire away. John?